Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Great morning, great blank time of day that you're consuming this. Welcome to the number one podcast on innovative teamwork, the number one person you're going to meet talking innovative teamwork. This is what we do. Give me a second here. Let me just share out everything. Facebook. This thing is, let's go. Come on. All right. There we go. We here. Mic check, Facebook. Let me share it out real quick. And YouTube. Make sure that's shared out as well. And we're going to get this thing going. Another Tuesday, first day of July. Happens to fall on a Tuesday. You know, we do around here top five Tuesday. Some solid coffee in a little earlier. Special week this week, you know. We're in July 4th, so kind of in sort of vacation. Earlier. Special week this week, you know. We're in July. But we still do what we got to do. Working regardless. Getting it done regardless. All right, let's do it. All right, folks, let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to my world. My name, Aswan Cruikshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon-to-be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole system, this whole brand, this whole way of life that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as efficiently and as cohesively and has that same eager, that same passion, that same drive, that same dog in them as a championship high school or youth football team. That's what we do around here. Let me just get through a couple of announcements and we're going to get to our top 5 Tuesday, as we do every single Tuesday. It's been well over a year now, where there's been some relevant theme about how to do X and Y and Z and all that kind of stuff. And we break it down in what I call Top 5 Tuesday. It's really rewarding. Now, again, if you're a first-time consumer to my work, I understand that it may not be that big of a deal for you, but it's a really big deal for me because of how far I've come in regards to developing systems and how when I first started, I was all over the place and trying this and creating this and doing that. So when you talk about paying for coaching, you talk about, reinvesting and betting on yourself and really being humble enough, being confident enough to put the stuff out there and know that you're good at something, but also at the same time, being humble enough to see that other folks have done it and done it at higher levels than you and learn from those folks. And you see that start to connect. That's what I get to see every single day because I'm running around all week. I'm traveling this week. And because my systems, recording this, like I said, it's July 1st. So I'm planning where I'm going to St. Augustine later on this week. So planning all that, traveling and all that kind of stuff. And to have a system in place to where regardless of whatever happens travel wise, this, that, and the third, to have a system in place that, things are going to be moving forward cohesively. Doesn't matter because the system's working harder than I am. That's when things get rewarded. And that's really what business is about. If you go back a couple weeks ago, I actually talked about, I have a whole week's worth of content in terms of how to systematize your business and what systems really can do for the folks that are really about it, really actually have the damn talent. All right. So all that being said, I went on an early rant this morning. All that being said, if you are a business owner and you are interested and you are tired and you like what I'm saying, you like the sound, you like the way I'm talking, you like that idea of a staff that's running around like a championship high school youth football team. They're hungry, they're working together, they're trying to win games, they're out there getting better, and you see it in them, and you have not yet gone to freeguide.makeitmove.com. Make sure you do so. This is 100% free. Go to freeguide.makeitmove.com, where I created a very easy to understand 10-step process. We work in a very, very simple, easy to understand formula around here. All right. It's number one, you got to establish measurables. You need to establish measurables. Hear me. You need to establish measurables. Then you need to create a professional distance. You add those two things together, and then and only then will you get the productive environment that's going to lead to the results that you need to, that you're hoping to have, the conducive results to your business. There's no other blueprint, all right? Establishing your measurables and then creating a professional distance absolutely are the key pieces to the formula that'll lead to the productive environment for you. All right. Now, if you're like, look, get it, but I instead of getting the free stuff, I want to get this stuff. I'm ready for the big leads. I'm ready for the big dogs. All right. Then simply go to makeyourmove.com. That is makeymove.com. You can do all your research on me. You can book me to speak. You can go pick up a couple copies of my books that are currently out. Like I said, there's a new one coming out in a couple months here. You can go get it. You see I'm wearing the Wintrepreneur t-shirt, which we'll be talking about that today. All that stuff, or you can just book a workshop. Again, the best thing is just book a meeting with me. We'll figure out how to best move forward. All the research is right there. Turn your business into a championship team. It's common knowledge. The best way to win in business and in life is you got to avoid ways to lose. Whether you just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that needs to be outsourced. So I read that. I don't normally read that in the announcements, but this last line right here, or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. That right there leads me right into the discussion that we're going to be having today. All right. We are living in a time, and you see the shirt I'm wearing right now. I strategically, purposely wore this shirt for this week's Top 5 Tuesday. It's not the first time I've worn it on a live stream, but it's the first time I'm talking about how this shirt became a product on a live stream. All right. And even the shirt that you see right there on the screen, Team Hurricanes, DCC. All of these things were things of substance. They weren't products that just, slap a logo on it and then hopefully it sells. No, all of these things represent something. So when people walk around representing something on their merch and on their shirt, there was a story, there was certain elements in place that allowed them to become who they are. All right. So what we're diving into today is the top 5 ways to go from prompt to product. All right. How to go from prompt to product. We know what a prompt is. We got to understand now that the word prompt, it carries a whole lot more weight nowadays, given ChatGPT, given AI, given the systems, given the way things have gone. Again, I've spoken about the mistakes I've made. In fact, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Hold on one second. Just I think I have it. Actually, no, it's right there on Medium. It is right there on Medium. Let me see something real quick because I know I have it, and I'm going to briefly go. Podcast listeners, just bear with me for a second because I want to give you this for context. It was actually a really important thing that I did. What do the numbers say? Yes, this is it. This is actually a good compliment as we move forward. So how I've even made mistakes, and one of the things that I take really a great deal of pride in doing, being a thought leader, being an educator, being someone that is an expert in what he does. I want to explain to you that the mistakes that I made are why I became an expert. The willing to call my ass out and be someone that learned from the mistakes, picked up on it and say, okay, that mistake can make me more valuable, or it could just make me a person that quits when things get tough and you get called out. So basically, I'm going to read a little bit of a portion of this first one on May 1st. And this was the day before. Yeah. All right. I'll read a little bit of it. So yesterday I made a mistake, and this was referring to ChatGPT. All right. So again, media, if you're listening to me on the Move Swiftly podcast. Make sure you're following me or wherever you listen to me from, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or the Move Swiftly podcast. Be sure you're following me on medium.com because this is where a lot of my writing, I more so write on medium.com as opposed to LinkedIn, because medium.com is, more so for the articles, and it's one of my places where I go to get my thoughts together, and I'm actually monetized on Medium as well. So Medium is where I like to point my people who like to read, who are into reading and stuff like that. So a lot of people think being a professional means never making mistakes. That couldn't be further from the truth. Yesterday, I made a mistake on the surface, looked minor, but it hit me in the gut. Why? Because it was the kind of mistake that contradicted everything I pride myself on: being prepared, authentic, and intentional in how I communicate. Here's what happened. I was using ChatGPT to help streamline outreach for a new campaign around employee development. I prompted it to find a list of podcasts that feature guests and focus on workplace leadership. Once the list was generated, I had ChatGPT tailor personalized notes for each show host, so I could copy, paste, and send. Smart delegation, right? So I did it. I sent out a handful of messages. One of them came back quick, short, and direct. As someone who has long admired our show, I'm sure you've noticed that we don't have guests ever. Sorry. I read it twice. I immediately, and I'm talking to you guys directly now. Podcast says that I'm going off script here. I read that thing and I was so embarrassed because that is not me, right? So I read it twice, laughed, I cringed. I then pitched myself to a show. I had just pitched myself to a show that clearly doesn't accept guests. That would be like sending a baseball scouting tape to a soccer team. At first, I was embarrassed. The generic, because I was embarrassed because I get these messages all the time. Every time I look at my inbox, there's somebody recommending a show guest to me. It's always sometimes I respond and I get no response back. It comes out when you have stuff online. It's just what it is, right? But here's what happened. Instead of brushing it off, I reflected on what happened, and it wasn't a tech error. This was the perfect case study. Now I get to be a case study on how employee development, entrepreneurship actually work. I'm selling. This is what I sell. And just so you guys know, this is my main thing and what I sell. If I'm selling employee development workshops, what better example than this? Think about it. Who is verifying AI-generated prompts your employees are using? What's your team's process when a mistake happens? Are you building people who shut down or learn to pivot and make something valuable out of it? So turning that into leverage. That one mistake I made, understand that one mistake I made turned into a YouTube video. It turned into a LinkedIn article, turned into a Medium article. It turned into me now talking about it over 2 months. It's 2 months since that happened. It turned into me now speaking on it as I prep for another show. And I still have all these things that turned into, because now I'm more efficient in terms of what I prompted, how to verify what I prompt, and then as I teach it to my ideal clients in terms of business owners and what they do and how they utilize AI, okay, I can speak from experience. I can tell that story, and we're going to get into that as we go through our points here, but I can tell that story. And I can now explain to business owners, hey, there's no getting around AI. However, when you start using it, do you have blank in place? Do you have this person in place? Do you have this verified? Because if you make the mistake that I clearly just made, now you're losing business, and something that could be used as a positive for you can ultimately become a detriment because you're not verifying the people and making sure the people are the right people to put in place. You still have to develop people. All right. In fact, it's more important that you develop people now because of AI, because it's here, because it's not going anywhere. It's that much more important that you're developing people. All right. So that's enough backstory. Let's get into the list here. All right. Top 5 Tuesday. How to go from prompt to product. Welcome back to Top 5 Tuesday, part of the structured rhythm we've established here in the Move Swift plus LY Sports Marketing. Here, I read that wrong. So welcome back to Top 5 Tuesday, part of the structured rhythm we've established here at Move Swift plus LY. You see that, baby? Plus LY sports marketing. Every Tuesday for over a year, we've delivered a focused top 5 list. And this week, we're going deep on something especially relevant in 2025. How to go from prompt to a product. How to go from a prompt to a product. All right. That's right. In today's AI-driven world. Oh, geez, let me wind the screen up. I forgot I didn't do that. In today's AI-driven world, the word prompt has gone from vague verb to powerful tool. So let's define it. Prompt, the verb, the cause or bring about. To cause or bring about. Let's understand this. The word prompt, according to Google, all right, according to Google, which I think we would all agree is a very trusted source, is to cause or bring about. So when you use the word prompt, you are now saying, hey, this is causing something or bringing something about. Thanks, Google. But in 2025, when we say prompt, we're most often referring to AI tools like ChatGPT. And for Wintrepreneurs, those are my people, my loyal people. What's up? All right. For the Wintrepreneurs in this space, aka my loyal followers, you already know the substance behind your prompt is what determines your output. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back, for the folks all the way in the back. All right. No, the substance behind your prompt is what determines your output. Real quick, I want to get a definition of the word substance. All right. Substance. Let's just get a definition of the word substance. A particular kind of matter with uniform properties, the real physical matter of which a person or thing consists and which has tangible, solid presence. Keywords in those definitions: a solid presence. Presence, not presence like you're giving a gift to somebody. Presence as in Presence, a presence. You walk into a room and you establish a presence. So substance is about having a presence. You got to have some mother than substance. All right, you have to. There is no other way of getting around it. Substance. All right, so let's break down the top 5 steps to move from just giving commands to actually launching products. Number 1, mission alignment. Mission alignment. Let me get it on the screen real quick. Mission alignment. All right. Before you type anything into ChatGPT, you have to know what you're building. If you don't have a clear mission or vision, AI is just going to mirror your confusion. These tools are only as strong as your input. If you're unclear, they'll be generic. But if your prompt aligns with your mission, AI becomes your most reliable employee. Hear me. I'm going to go back to what I said here, or what, evergreen, what's on Make You Move. A clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Understand, there's parts of your business that need to be outsourced. All right. Parts of your operation, parts of your system that you're not going to be able to do on your own. So if you have some substance, in terms of what you want to do. And if you prompt it the right way and it aligns with your mission, AI will become your most reliable employee because of what's in your mind. I'm going to give you a living proof example right now. All right. This shirt that I'm wearing. All right. The plus LY pencils with the boxing gloves, plus the words Wintrepreneur. All of this stuff, before I came up with this shirt, before I put it, why not? We'll go right to the shop. We'll go right to the shop so you guys can go get your own Wintrepreneur tees, right? All of this was created years before this logo was created, before ChatGPT was even a thing. I was boxing trainer, wrote the book Swift plus LY, Lee, right? And Swift plus LY. So plus LY, I was promoting that, lift yourself, the whole thing. That is kind of the core of what we do around here. And then the word Wintrepreneur came last year when I was getting coached up by, shout out to Dre, I was getting coached up by Dre, and he was telling me about what I should be telling other business owners, how I'm going to teach them, how I'm going to help them. And he used the word entrepreneur, and I simply added the W to Wintrepreneur. All of that was created years in advance, all right? Years in advance. So what you're looking at on the screen was not me just waking up one morning and thinking about, okay, what's going to be the best logo for this? So what's going to be the best thing that I could put on t-shirts? No, that's not what happened. What you're looking at was years and years and years of work and years of thinking about what I want my message to say. And then ChatGPT is what came up with the logo. I didn't have time to come up with that shit. I'm the one that's actually creating the content and making sure that I'm speaking and I'm on camera regularly. You don't have time. If you're going to be the brains behind the operation, you don't have time to think about which logo is the best and all that other shit. That's you distracting and deflecting from your real responsibilities as a business owner, right? That's the issue. You got to make sure that whatever gets put out there, whatever logo, whether it was a person that came up with it or a ChatGPT that came up with it, make sure it aligns with your mission, all right? It aligns with your mission in regards to all of the things that you do, are all the things that you're able to offer. In fact, next week, we're going to be diving into this very concept in terms of how to make sure you're offering more, how to make it so you can offer more. And all of this starts with substance. All right. I want to be clear and want to be on record, making sure you hear me when I say this. This isn't just a t-shirt. You know, don't look at this and say, oh, it's just something that As One thought of overnight, over the span of 2 hours. No, that is far from what happened. This is 5+ years of me being a boxing trainer, writing a book, and then figuring out the best ways to sell that book based on the way I was operating, and then still being able to offer boxing lessons, still being able to offer books, still being able to offer consulting, still being able to create the term and create the content around the brand. That's what happened. It didn't just happen. So there was an alignment with the mission long before it went in to ChatGPT. All right. So that's number one. You have got to have mission alignment. The mission has got to be aligned with whatever goes in the prompt. All right. Next thing that has to happen is there's an initial reaction. All right, let me put it on the screen and take a sip of coffee. And relax, because I get going with these things. I get really fired up with these things. So we're gonna go over initial reaction. What I mean by that. All right, number 2, the initial reaction. All right, this one came straight from real life. So a few weeks ago, I asked some of the students to help me choose a t-shirt design generated through ChatGPT. The one that made it to the Make Your Move shop, it was the one they reacted to the most. Pay attention to what people respond to. The initial emotional reaction is often the best product market fit feedback you'll get. All right, so let me clarify that for anybody that doesn't understand what I'm saying. I teach at a school named the Center for Creative Education. All right. And I've been with these kids. I've been with this school now. It's going to be we're now entering my 3rd summer with them. Been with them for a while. I've seen these kids grow. They've seen me, come in and, they see me just wear the initial Plus LY shirt. They see me running my own business. A lot of them will come in and while I'm recording the show, or, I wrote this since I've worked, I wrote this book. This was a book that I wrote while I was teaching at this school. So I've accomplished a lot in my time being here at CCE, create a lot of things. So as ChatGPT was becoming a thing, I don't relate, I'm one of the few male teachers in this space. So I don't really engage in too much personal dialogue with colleagues, which is, the way I would prefer it in a professional setting as it is. So when I was coming up with this t-shirt design, I just simply put in the ChatGPT, hey, create some logos or create some things that I could put on a t-shirt that'll incorporate the Plus LY logo, incorporate my ability to be a boxing trainer, and incorporate the new term that I coined, which is wintrepreneur. And then you see what actually they came up with. And this wasn't the only option. There was all sorts of things that they were coming up with, all sorts of different logos and stuff like that. But I put it in front of the actual students. Why? Because every time somebody sees me wearing this Plus LY shirt, they're always asking, do you work at a preschool, elementary school? Or do you own a daycare? Because when you look at it, it looks like something that you, excuse me, the logo looks like something that you would purchase for your kids, which is the way I wanted it, because I wanted to attract more parents into my business. I wanted the feedback of more parents. I wanted the feedback of people who are responsible for younger kids, because that's what my brand really creating pathways for, right? As a business owner, you want employee development very much, but you also want to make sure you're putting a message out there that's going to lead to that kid becoming a great student, and going from a great student to becoming a great employee that can do a lot of different things. So that was who I was looking to attract anyway. So I put it in front of the kids and in front of the students. And not only that, but also my girl, who is also a mother of two. And she, had ambitions on being a fashion designer and all that kind of stuff. And it was funny the day of, because I remember it hit me as I was getting all these different logo designs from ChatGPT. And it hit me because we talk all the time. And I was like, wait a minute, she did say that she wanted to be a fashion designer. I mean, she's always giving me shit about the way I dress and stuff like that. So, that's another conversation for another day. But long story short is I sent her a bunch of the logos that ChatGPT had generated for me. And the one that she liked the best off this initial reaction, that we're talking initial reaction, was this one. Boom. I didn't act like I didn't act like I was an expert on logo design and, shirts and dressing and all that. I just went off the, hey, look, if somebody that is in that world and knows what the hell it is they talk about, or the people I'm looking to attract, they like that one, fuck it, go with that one. Don't try to do too much when you are already supposed to be the expert at this thing. If you're, hey, I'm the books, I'm the speaker, I'm the one that's out there creating opportunities to get in front of more people, or just frequently putting the message out there through words and through speaking, whatever, do that, be great, lean into your strengths, but don't lean into some shit that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of, dressing and, fashion and all that stuff. I let it go to the experts. That's what we mean. When you're talking about initial reaction, you have to put folks around you that you're looking to attract and what they're about, and then go from there. All right. So that's number 2, is initial reaction. And number 3, scalability. All right. Number 3 is scalability. Because there's no point in doing it if you can't. I'm gonna read it directly, and then I'll address it. So once you have something people respond to, the next question is, can I scale this? In the case of my shirt designs, if these students liked it, there are likely millions more across schools and campuses who would too. No, not all of them will buy, but the possibility exists. That's what matters. That's what matters. That's what matters. That's what matters. Your radio is not broken, folks. I am repeating this for a reason. That's what matters. The possibility exists. You got to think big, folks. You got to think big. You got to think huge. You got to think, okay, I put this in front of one, and it was a group of, so when I initially did it and I was showing them the logo designs that ChatGPT was coming up with, it started out with a 3rd grader, and then, now she's going to be in 4th grade since we're in summer. So 3rd grader a rising 4th grader, and 2 other boys who both in the sports, and they're now rising 6th graders. And I remember wearing this shirt for the first time. Here's what happened. So I remember wearing the shirt for the first time, and one of the boys that helped me come up with it, he looks at me like, hey, I came up with that shirt. And to see the look on his face, let me just tell you, to see the look on his face when he saw me wearing this shirt, and I showed him the look, because I showed him through ChatGPT how it is and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I came up with that shirt. That's what's up. And now it's an actual physical product. That's all that right there is exactly why folks get into education. That right there is exactly what real education is about, because you're practicing model behavior. You're not just throwing some shit at them on a textbook and then here's the multiple choice exam and you are going to either pass or fail. That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is we're actually putting our money where our mouth is. We're actually putting some shit in action, taking action and say, hey, this new thing, this is what I created. This is a product. And imagine if I can create this, man, imagine what you can do with your young mind and not having responsibility of bills and, more, all the stuff that me as an adult, I have to take on. That kid can go create some things that would be absolutely beneficial for his future and conducive for his future, and learn so much based on what? Based on what he saw Mr. Aswan do, based on what he saw, based on what he physically sees. I was, again, helping Mr. Aswan. I was helping Mr. Aswan with this just ChatGPT logos and figuring out what would look good on a shirt and all that. Next thing I know, the next week, he's wearing it. It's there. It's done. That's what we got to show our kids, man. That's what we got to show our students. That's what we got to show them that we can do. And that, because they're going to live in this world with ChatGPT and AI, and the prompts got to have fucking substance. They got to have substance. Teach them how to have substance. Teach them how to move efficiently when they come up with a prompt and they come up with the right stuff, and then scale, folks. Think scalability. Don't think in your local, small-minded way. Think scalability and how it can blow up and get bigger and bigger and bigger and better. All right. So that's number 3, scalability. I didn't finish reading it. So possibility exists. That's what mattered. If the product resonates at a small level, it can grow and scale. So that's number 3. Number 4. Dun, 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 dun. This is going to hurt some people. Because a lot of you make this mistake. A lot of you listening to me right now make this mistake. A lot of you make this mistake. It has to be more than a logo. It has to be more than a damn logo. All right. I get so sick and tired of the internet folks and the social media. And there's tons of people who think that slapping a logo on a product and now all of a sudden you in business. Now all of a sudden you got it like that. Now all of a sudden you're ready to roll. It is so much more than a logo. It really is. And in many cases, even in my case, it's not even the person who created the business that has come up with the logo. Okay. The person who's created the business has created a strategy and a structure that's in place. The logo is kind of like the cherry on top of a cake. All right. It is really just for the look. And people buy, people buy like instantly. They'll buy certain things because they may like the logo here and there, but it's not a consistent. Those are customers, not clients. They will see something like, remember one of the things I used to like, I'd spend days. There was a point where I'd spend days watching Shark Tank. And like I used to watch all the like interviews and the stuff behind it. And, you know, when you watch something like a Shark Tank, there's all sorts of like business things that come up. And I got like really, really tuned into it to the point where it's like psychotic. Like I'd be watching that shit all day, dude. So one of the things that got mentioned in one of these like videos is they said, when you're creating a new product, never forget packaging. All right, packaging. They never forget packaging, the importance of packaging. Let's see if I can give you an example here. So packaging would be like this right here, right? You have the peppermint dark chocolate, but you have it in a nice fancy package. So when somebody sees it at the store, they're looking for a quick gift. They look for nice packaging. The things that literally, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if these damn chocolates are good or not. In their head, it's like if the packaging is nice, it can go on the shelves and people are going to buy it. Packaging. All right. I can do a whole episode on just simply packaging stuff. All right. Here's the issue with that. There's no loyalty when it comes to a logo. There's no loyalty when it comes to just packaging. If you're going to go from prompt to product, you got to make sure whatever it says, whatever you create, how fancy the logo is, that it's some deeper substance that's coming with it. There's some deep rooted things that are coming with it. So let me read it directly. And then because 4 and 5, you see it right there. It's telling the story. So 4 and 5 are kind of moving in the same direction. So I'll read both of them now, and then I'll close you guys out. So it has to be more than a logo. Please hear me on this. A business is not just a logo slapped on a product. AI makes it easy to create something pretty, but without substance, it won't last. You need to think beyond branding. Ask yourself, does it solve a problem? Is it aligned with a long-term narrative? Is it built to evolve? And then number 3, again, number 5, we go right into number 5, tell a story. At the end of the day, people don't buy logos. They buy into stories. When you sell a product, you're not just exchanging money. You're inviting someone into your journey. Your product should resonate deeply enough that it becomes a reflection of the buyer's identity. That's the difference between a one-time purchase and long-term support. Final thought, going from prompt to product isn't about speed, it's about substance. We live in an era where we can launch something powerful in just a few keystrokes. But if you want longevity, you've got to be intentional. So start prompting, but prompt with purpose. Let AI work for you, not the other way around. So on that point, let me go back. I'm gonna go back to this image right here. I'm gonna go back to this image right here. All right. When we're talking about telling a story, between it being more than a logo and telling a story, this is absolutely important. All right, it's absolutely important. And I'll close you out with just understanding these 3. I'm going to give you a real life example here. Let me just get this up on the screen. All right, so telling a story. All right, so I myself, I'll tell you just quick. I look at that guy right now. That guy I'm looking at on the screen 5 years ago. This was 2020. COVID was happening, and this is when I really started getting to it, because at this point I was working 2 part-time jobs. One was as a 9-round trainer. The other one was I was working for the Miami Dolphins Foundation as a seller. Right. When you look at this concept of Team Hurricanes, DCC, it actually stands for Dolphins Cancer Challenge. Right, it stands for Dolphins Cancer Challenge, which is the number one. It's the number one fundraiser in the NFL, but also it's the flagship event for the Miami Dolphins Foundation, and just, their way of connecting with the community and bringing people in. Right, I tried to start this on my own. I tried to create my own team on my own, and I found, if you can look a little closer, you see that logo on the sleeve where it says Max Cycle. So Max Cycle would put on free bike rides to get you prepared for the DCC. All right. Now, as the months went by and I couldn't get anybody on the team, I couldn't get anybody to register for the DCC under my team, then I was at Max Cycle doing a group run with them, a practice run, and I was told, hey, just join Team Hurricanes. And when I joined Team Hurricanes, I just simply switched over to team. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me look this up real quick. So the person who used to do it, I think he works for I think he's actually with them now. The name is completely slipping my mind right now. Let me see if I can look him up real quick. Hold up. Give me 1 second. Because it's gonna be under front office, and I believe because he used to do all of the Max Cycle stuff. Is he there? It is. Let me see if he's there. Last I heard, he. Yes. Yep, there he is. Yep, he's still there. So Chris Payne, real quick. Let's do this for you so you guys understand the realities of this. All right. So his name was Chris Pavon. He used to work for Max Cycle. It's Pavon and Max Cycle. Yep. Senior. Yep. Max Cycle. So he's not there anymore, but let me see if I can pull up his LinkedIn real quick. Yep. Here it is. All right. So lesson for you guys. I didn't even plan on going here with this, but he right here, Max Cycle Fitness, Director of Events, Sponsorships and Partnerships. So if you look at the story, again, there's a story I'm able to tell even here when you look up somebody on LinkedIn. All right. Go back to this. When you look at the shirt, when you tell, and then we're breaking down this point about telling a story and what I'm able to do with just one shirt, folks, one shirt. All right, here we are. DCC Team Hurricanes, you see Max Cycle right there. I tried to start my own team with the DCC. I went to Max Cycle for free bike rides to get myself ready for the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. This is where I met Chris Pavon. Chris Pavon, who was the director at the time. Again, just look at the dates here. At the time, he was the director of events, sponsorships, and partnerships with Max Cycle, and he used to do a whole lot of different things with the Miami Dolphins Foundation. 2020, just last year, because I remember seeing the post on LinkedIn. So the Miami Dolphins go ahead and hire him because of what he was doing. They hire him as the senior manager for DCC and community events. That's what I mean when I say tell the story, because when I was doing my training rides with them, they just told me, hey, come and join Team Hurricanes, and then we're going to rock this thing out together. Next thing you know, Chris, the one who used to set up those free rides, now look at what he's doing. He's the one that's engaged in the community, probably not doing anything different than what he was already doing. All right. Do you understand me now? You can't just slap logos on shit and hope it works. You gotta actually tell a story. You have to tell a story in everything you do, because you get people that are going to buy into you in the long term. Even though you may not know the person physically, it may not be something that materializes into a physical relationship or where you guys talk every day. But when you provide an experience by telling a story, that's when folks are able to give you, are willingly giving you money, because they not only want to give you money, they want to see your process and your brand and your scalability. They want to see all 5 of the points, everything that we went over today, every single point that we hit, from the mission alignment to the initial reaction to the scalability to the more than a logo to telling a story. They want to see all 5 of these things encompass and be moving in a cohesive way, so they can tell their story. They can move forward with their lives. Look at what the hell I was able to do since then. Look at what this was years before I put my book out, years before the podcast, years before any of this, where my goal was actually to just, grow with the Miami Dolphins organization as I was, learning these boxing classes, learning how to be a boxing trainer and all that. I was just looking to create my story in itself, as I saw somebody else that was on their own path and in their own alignment and creating opportunities and things of that nature. Then I started to say, okay, I'm going to start doing things like that. This is what I told you guys at the beginning. It's one thing to be an expert and have the confidence to know your shit. The next thing is now be humble enough to learn from the folks that have done it before, so you know how to get to where it is you're trying to get to. See, that's another problem that we'll probably address on a later date, is that too many of you guys think you know every fucking thing, and you're not able to be open enough to learn from the folks that have, hey, we're on the same mission. We're going to figure this out. We're going to do this. And then you just sit back, take your notes. And then when it comes time for you to speak and, express your expertise in certain things, then you can talk. And that's how it has to work. I'm telling you from experience, the biggest pet peeve of mine is to be around a motherfucker that thinks they know every fucking thing about the world. Excuse my French on this, but the concept and the idea of being around someone that thinks they know everything there is to know, just know it all. I'm not listening to somebody whose name I can't pronounce. Those type of people will get lost. You just got to get them out of your system and learn from folks that really got it together, all right, or really are willing to learn as you grow and things of that nature. So just to recap, I know I went on a couple rants to this, but this topic is something that I was dying. I could not wait to get to, because of how pure and authentic it actually happened. And wait till we get to tomorrow. So Wintrepreneur Wednesday tomorrow is another one that'll blow your socks off, because we're going to talk actual digital footprints and leaving digital footprints, and the power of leaving digital footprints on the internet, in case anybody wants to test your stats and throw you, and try to come at you on some, gotcha moments and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be breaking all that down tomorrow on Wintrepreneur Wednesday. So main website again, let me just put the website out there one more time. It's makeyourmove.com. It's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. Again, make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing, sharing this out. We are effing going places with this channel. Appreciate the support, especially appreciate the support on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the stuff, just everything going on, man. It's been a blessing. We're halfway through officially over halfway through 2025. 2026 is going to be here before you know it. So make sure you're prepping now. You're putting things aside. You're making sure you have it together to where you can go out and make some major things happen in the second half of the year. All right. So again, as one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.